well. Y'all could pop over to the Twitch. That would be nice. Make sure everything's running smooth.
Wrong button.
Cause I am paranoid. I have on so many occasions managed to record like entire segments that were just muted straight up just because I was a dumbass and just didn't realize anything. Sounds like it's doing good so far though. But anyways, yeah, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Shifting Fates. Don't mind my horrendous audio, which I'm fairly certain only audio freaks like me will actually be able to tell the main difference between it, because my brain is weird. But for those of you that do recognize that my audio is much more airy and open, I do apologize because I hate it. But not much I can do about it. But welcome to another episode. I am currently just flinging this and other self-promotion chats because I can. So bear with me a second as we get into the story. Come join us as we walk into the dark depths of... Why did I do that? Dark depths of the night terrain. Sure. I'm making things up on the fly. Don't worry about it. Cat,
How dare you? Should have had this all together already.
You got it, I believe in you.
I have everything together all the time, except for the noise that's outside, which I want to punch. Hopefully none of y'all can hear that. It makes me very angry.
I hear nothing aside from what's going on in my own house around me.
Well, that's probably good. We can't hear anything go on your end either, so that is very, very good. I just dislike background noise. I miss my isolation booth. I had a lovely isolation booth, and I had to take it down, and now I'm sad. How are you guys today? How are you guys doing?
I'm fine, I guess.
Not bad at the moment.
You're very hesitant
Alive?
about that statement. Well, living is fine and happy and dandy, probably. Maybe not in this terrain, but that's fine. Alright, so, you guys are inside of... Well, you guys are about to be walking into Cataclysm. I actually have a map that I did put down here because I'm smart. Praise me. We're going to activate that real quick. This is a map that, Snow, who I can never remember the second half of his name, is Snowsling Leon.
Crossing.
Yeah. This is the beginnings of the map that we have, which is nice and lovely and beautiful and fantastic, and I will praise his work until the day I die.
Yeah, you better.
It's really well done.
Praise it forever. I love it. So this is the world map, which is much better than the shoddy version I made before. Don't worry about the giant ass crater in the top right. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't question it. Okay? I will throw you in there eventually. It's fine. But
Okay.
you guys do have the Trail of Blade Tears right here. The Citadel obviously right here. No, I forgot to say this. Nagul Jog, which is right there. You guys are more or less right here. So about to enter the large forests. Most of this is roughly to scale. This is of course a large wasteland that you guys know almost nothing about. These are caves, which you guys know almost nothing about. This is roughly where on most maps you guys assume is the goblin areas that you guys have seen, at least from your maps. Obviously this is Circadia, which is one of the main towns inside of Ryotao. It's not very common to have information on most of Ryotao, especially if you have papers from Helios, but there's even less information on Cataclysm. The Citadel, obviously on top right here, and then the Stepping Stone, which is mostly the dwarvish areas inside of the Goblin Forests. specifically the hill dwarves. There's also mountain dwarves, which you guys roughly assume is inside the mountainous regions up here, and there's also rumors of there being dark dwarves and dark elves inside of Cataclysm, but that's mostly just rumors and hearsay.
As in Drow and Duergar?
Yeah. I can never remember what the dark dwarves' names are, so I usually just default to dark dwarf. But yeah, they're most people assume that they're somewhere in Cataclysm, but there's almost no information about them. The same goes for a lot of Dragonborn, which you guys have seen pretty much all throughout Riotau and Helios, and you assume inside Cataclysm too. Dragonborn usually wanders more than anything else. But yeah, this is the world map. You guys are roughly, and let me just grab Ruina again. Roughly right there-ish. Sure, we'll put you right there. It does not want to be nice. But you guys are roughly right.
She's officially the group leader now.
Agreed.
You know.
I'll follow.
Wait, what?
I agree.
I mean, we're apparently now using her as the group marker, so does this make her the group leader now?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had to make the joke, but I'm sorry.
Half the group has now positioned you for leader, so there you go.
I deny. I run away.
I'll just follow.
So
This isn't a
away.
democracy. You-
Wait, if she's leaving and the forest is right here, then screw this forest. I'm out.
Alright, so let me activate that scene again. Yeet. There we go. I don't know why that always moves me down, but that's fine. So yeah, you guys are slowly heading into this forest. As you guys have moved from... Okay, hold on, let me pull up at this thing again. Because this only makes sense if we're actually looking at the full map, because I'm an idiot. So as you guys moved from, specifically, Eleonora and Rowena would know this. As you guys have moved from Helios to Riotau, it has gotten slightly cooler. Helios is generally around the temperature of about 70 to 90 degrees, depending on where you are, how much sunlight you're being hit by at any point in time, and so on and so forth. The forest tends to kill out a lot of the residual heat that floods down. So if you're above the forest layer, it's smokingly hot, but below the forest is usually around 70 to 80, depending on where in the forest you are or where in Helios you are. As you get into Riotau, most of the area is usually
Celsius.
between... God.
Oh dear God.
No.
Yeah, if you want the sun above you. Which, I mean, you are, but yeah, Fahrenheit, thank you. But yeah, inside of Riotau, from left to right, it's usually about 60 degrees, and then about 50 degrees right in the smack dab middle of it, and then about to 40 degrees as you get closer and closer to Cataclysm. From Cataclysm, it usually goes between 40 degrees at pretty much its max where you guys are at the moment. Okay, seriously, Car, can you shut the fuck up? Thank you. Sorry. I don't know if you guys could actually hear that, but it, like, filled my entire room. But as you guys go at the very edge of Cataclysm, it's usually about 40 degrees, maybe a little bit higher depending on a few things. And as you get closer and closer to the water, it goes down all the way to 20 degrees or below, depending on where exactly you are. Some caves are a little bit warmer, just because they're a general location, but Cataclysm is usually a rather cold place. It's one of the reasons why orcs are so bulky, is because the heavier they are, the bulkier they are, usually the warmer they can keep. Anyway, so you guys have moved slowly into this area. It has gotten colder and colder for you. If I remember correctly from last episode, we are moving pretty much right at the edge. Oh, hi, Melody. Melody Phoenix, new viewer. But anyway, so as you guys are kind of moving directly into the very edges of the space, it has gotten much colder. Specifically for Eleonora as well, as I believe she is wearing the least clothing of all of you, if I remember correctly. I think maybe tied for Rowena.
I mean, I'd wager probably all of us are shivering because,
Yeah.
well, maybe not snow. I don't really know what sort of conditions he's lived in, but it's just like,
Yeah, speak for yourself. I got a cloak.
Yeah, he has a
I mean,
cloak.
but all of us, but he just literally just said all of us have been used to temperatures of 70 and above for pretty much our entire lives, and now we're approaching
you have
20,
been
so it's
used
like,
to
we're
about
all probably
50.
pretty cold.
Yeah, you have been used to about 50, Oliver, but right at the 40 mark is usually where you get cold, especially since your bloodline, I believe, is usually more for heat temperatures.
Yeah,
But yeah.
tieflings have a 50% resistance to fire damage rounded down.
So yeah, you're a little bit more used to the hotter side of things. You're usually at about 50 degrees or so, so this is quite cold for you. So all three of you are very, very cold. Now we did make some adjustments to the elves just because the specific world that we're in. So if you guys look at game rules, which we're not going to use the homebrew rules section that I have right there just yet. I'm still working on them a little bit, kind of figure out what I like. Except for potion drinking, we had that a while ago. But the bright vision versus dark vision, specifically in elven genetics. So inside this world, we have two types of vision, which is bright vision, which is essentially when you're inside of an area that has concentrated sunlight, which is most of Helios, not protected by the forest. So most of the gnomish areas or near the coast will be full sunlight. You will have to have bright vision or you will be penalized by, I believe it's a disadvantage to attacks, if I remember correctly, or it's disadvantage to perception. I don't quite remember.
I think it's a disadvantage to both normally in terms of how dark vision works, but...
Yeah. So probably both. But if you're under the tree lines, it should be fine for the most part. Or if you're inside of most villages, it just pretty much hurts your guys' eyes if you're not used to it being a resident of Helios. If you're a resident of Cataclysm, you will have natural dark vision, which obviously doesn't. It basically does the opposite. You're able to see and you won't get any penalties. The only one with dark vision, I believe, at the moment, is Oliver, because of his race specifically.
I assume dark vision rules are the same as normal?
Yeah. And then effectively bright vision is just the opposite. But more or less it just removes your disadvantage to perception and attack rolls inside of these nearly pitch black locations.
That makes things weird for another reason.
It is...
Default dark... Sorry.
Well, what was that?
Default dark vision means that everything looks monochromatic, and that's something that he has never seen before.
Yeah, that will be very weird for you. So you guys, is about, by the time you get to the edge of the forest, about 11 o'clock a.m. At least from you guys' internal clocks, I suppose. Specifically, Leon's. Eleonora and Ruina's clocks are being screwed. And Oliver, you don't technically have a clock. You're just used to time. But it is more or less the same brightness level as you guys are used to inside of Ryotao, which is quite a bit lower than Helios, obviously. But it is getting to that point where like this is the max amount of light that you guys are about to get into, which, as you can see from this picture, is not a lot of light. It's a decent amount, but it's not a lot. But you guys are starting to get a little bit cold. Everyone but Leon with your nice little coat, which is usually used to prevent, dust and sand and all that fun shit. You're at least being able to wait off the cold just a little bit. Once it gets to about 20 degrees, cloaks, albeit useful, don't do that much. From personal experience. But for right now, you're perfectly fine. Eleanor, you are freezing your ass off. And then, Ruina, you're probably also freezing cold.
I'm a walking popsicle, thank you very much.
Yeah. Also, I don't think you guys have very high... Oh, no, you all three of you have the exact same constitution.
I mean, in my defense, Constitution is actually necessary for casters.
That's true. I just love the fact that that is the only stat that you guys have identical. Oh, that's funny. If I could see that better, I would be able to look at the other ones. But yeah, so you guys are able to withstand the cold a little bit. It is definitely not something you guys want to endure for very long periods of time. Obviously, if you went an entire night in 40-degree weather with thin clothing, you would get frostbite. So that is something to watch out for. But yeah, you guys are walking into this forest. It's dark. It's cold. It's more or less the same lighting as you guys are used to Ryotao, if not slightly brighter than you guys were in Ryotao, because it is almost noon, so this is about as much light as you guys get. There's also less clouds above you. So as you guys are stepping past the line of Ryotao to Cataclysm, the clouds actually thin out, which is allowing the sun to actually get a little bit of rays into the forest. Just a little bit. Because it does have to go through all the clouds and whatnot. So you guys are having a slightly lighter time at almost noon in this area. But you guys are walking forwards. What would you like to do? Would you like to talk to each other about your situation? Freezing cold, or...
I mean, the moment I step into the forest, I'm just going to look at around for the darker areas of the forest, specifically the corners, and just be like, this is... I never knew that the world had places where it went monochrome.
I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about.
I think so. I don't think like you're suddenly colorblind when it becomes dark. I think dark vision is just like, hey, it's dark. It's hard to see color when it's dark out. I think dark vision is just like them saying you can't tell the difference between a ruby and a sapphire even if you have dark vision in the dark because it's dark. I think that's what that rule means. I don't think it suddenly means you're colorblind in specific spots in your vision.
I don't know. Fair enough.
I will rule it as when you're like, the way I see it is like when you wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and then you step outside of your room and your eyes are adjusted to the dark, you can like see the outlines, you can like see the shapes and certain things that they're bright enough colors, you can tell. But to you, effectively, this is monochrome colors. Just because it is quite dark and you're used to bland colors, so this is a little bit more bland, which is not something you're used to. It's not quite monochrome, but it's effectively monochrome for you.
In that case, maybe I should roll a perception. If I get low, I think it's monochrome.
That's a fair point. Yeah, feel free.
Let's see here. Where are my...
Where, oh, where did the falling... Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's monochrome.
Yeah. Your brain is like, yeah, that's black and white. That's fancy. But yeah, Ellie, do you have anything to remark on that?
I can't tell the difference visually.
Does anyone else's goosebumps have goosebumps? This is not fun.
Believe me, I had those back when we saw those corpses back there. Ugh.
I have no idea how we're gonna get through this, but I think we should be fine. But I might end up as a walking popsicle at this going rate.
Might have a couple of spare fire pellets if you need some sort of, if you've got something to make a heat source with it, but...
I mean, there's vegetation. We can always use some of that.
Fair. Can I look for a stick or something around? Okay.
So the terrain that you guys are currently in around you is what I like to refer to as birch forests. So it's very thin branches. It's between birch and pine forest, I believe is the term. And so it's very thin trees, very dense clusters of thin trees, very little leaves above, but there are a lot of branches on the ground because they get bashed into quite often. Feel free, all 4 of you, to roll me perception real quick.
At this point, I'm just trying to see if I can make out the thickest stick, and I think I failed.
Perception with disadvantage?
Yeah, feel free to do it at disadvantage, yeah. Actually, no, you guys aren't in, you guys are in almost the same lighting as Ryotao, so after this hour, you guys will be in disadvantage. Okay, cool. So, especially with Rowena's, natural, I guess, hunter instincts. you are seeing a lot of the area around you. Let me move back to the world map real quick so I can kind of explain this section a little bit better. You are noticing that a lot of the forest, because you guys are right along this little trail of Bloody Tears, is right next to you. There are significantly less blood splotches, blood marks, a lot less corpses or anything like this. From what you can tell, this is about the point where they don't really have much fighting that they're doing, obviously because they're retreating, and so any of the blood that's left here is actually them pulling it back. But one thing that all of you guys can tell, and I'll move back to the forest real quick. One thing you guys can tell is to your right, along that same path, there are gravestones. There are a lots of gravestones. I mean, like, thousands of gravestones.
Do they have any writing on them? Can I go over and look at them?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to. I think you speak Orcish, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I keep forgetting. Yeah, you speak almost every language. Every natural one.
Pretty much.
So you walk over to it, and there are names. I'm assuming the rest of you follow her too?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be keeping reasonably close.
Cool.
Probably outside of arm's reach. Not that really matters for a bow user, but
that's fair.
I am going to be sticking reasonably close.
I'm not. I am staying 20 feet away from the creepy graves. 30, 40 feet away from the graves. I know better.
I am probably going to call out. I am. Actually, would I know that?
No.
Would I know how about the necromancers in this area?
You would know that they're, like the rest of them, you would know their stories, that necromancers are effectively the same as paladins in Helios.
Alright then. In that case, I'm going to make a comment.
Okay.
That's strange. What would be the meaning of graves if the location is... Well, I suppose I don't know how filled it might be, but if they have necromancers available...
I always just kind of assumed orcs set their dead on fire.
Or just those that didn't
well.
make it home fully on the trip back.
As you're looking over the graves, Rowena, you do see writing on them. They are headstones. Each of them have a name associated with them. Some of them are repeating, but each and every single one of these graves has a name carved into it. They're all stone blocks, essentially. They're not even like formed stones. It's basically they took a boulder, shoved it into the ground, and then dragged a knife along it into a name. Some of them are weird orc names like Rocknark, and then other ones are shockingly human names. Jason, Johnson, Twerk is a weird one that you see at one point or another. But there is a whole slew of them, from humanish names to orcish names to some weird thing in between. But it goes on for a good 500 some feet in either direction. It's basically a giant mass grave. The dirt also seems to have not been ruffled with for at least a couple of years, from what you can tell.
And this is why I don't like war.
Well, this is certainly odd. I never thought there would be graves here.
Something's not right. Now, if you're an orc who falls in battle, they're just gonna leave you on the battlefield. We saw.
See, that's what I thought.
So, presumably these graves either belonged to orcs what came back, so injured orcs or war chiefs that they might actually bother bringing the body for. But then why is there so many humans?
I mean, even
Well-
outside of the humans, if it's just war chiefs and heroes, why are there so many?
Do any of these names seem elfish
Nope, no
that I
one.
can see? Okay.
They all
Okay,
seem
good.
either
Good.
human-ish, orcish, some in between, and those are the only languages that you can see being written there. You do see a couple of them in common, though. So the only languages that you see in here are common and orcish on these headstones. The common ones are extremely rare. You only notice them with your 15 perception, just casually looking out over. But you do only see two.
I don't think this is a war graveyard.
Then what is this?
Civilians. Maybe there's a village here, or used to be a village here. Do any of them have years on it? Does it look like it was all one day? Or does it look like it was over several years?
There is no dates on them, but if you want to see how old most of these graves are, you would have to roll now perception.
I'm not getting close enough to do that.
Yeah.
I'm staying far away.
So,
Would I be
But
able
can
to
you say
tell?
it?
if you guys want to tell, you would have to roll perception.
Do you ask how old they are?
I kind of just did.
Okay. I was wondering if it was like in character or not.
Sorry, no. That was in character, but...
Okay. I'll roll perception then. No! It's bad.
Yeah, so you do
Just
not
go by the
study rocks
original.
very often. You study a lot of things. Trees, animals, not rocks. They have been very low on your priority list. So you're not quite sure how old these graves are. What I can tell you from just your basic perception of the ground, most of the graves around you are at least a couple years old. From what you can tell from the ground itself, a lot of the ground has not been disturbed for a while. Some of the graves, a couple of them in common, have been disturbed within the last, if you had to guess, probably within the last 9 months. Very rough guess with that 7, but very rough guess. But probably within the last 9 months, those common graves have been touched. But most of the graves that you can see, at least, have been there for a while. There is some variation of grave sections. You know how to say that properly. Give me another perception real quick.
Hey, Ellie got a 9.
She did.
Yeah.
All right, Ellie, you would be able to tell, probably. Actually, no, you don't deal with survival very often, do you? Hold on. One of you roll survival. Whoever has the highest survival. Which would
I have a
probably be...
+3.
Yeah, I assume that would be Ruina.
Probably.
I'll try it.
Definitely
Ooh.
not Ellie.
Sad face.
All right, cool. So Ruina, you study, well, you have studied the ground to some degree, mostly because of tracking reasons and because of different hunting reasons. You would be able to tell that there's not necessarily segmented sections, but it's very close. Some of the sections are a lot older. Some of the sections have been disturbed a little bit more recently. Some are blending in, but a lot of the ground is just different ages, essentially, from what you can tell.
So, Leon, was it, right?
Yep. Shaky, please.
Okay, shaky it is, I suppose. I don't see any dates currently. But from what I can tell on the ground, maybe this area over here is a little bit older and this one's a little bit fresher, if that makes sense. So it definitely wasn't all on one day.
I think that lends credence to this not being a war grave. That and
Yeah,
the
I
mixed
haven't-
race, that's my hunch. I I don't exactly do this for a living. I know my name's Graves, but I don't have much to do with them.
I haven't spent much time in cemeteries either. I was just
I
curious.
agree. I think it seems like there must be like a small village of sorts, or at least a group that this grave's associated with, but just a guess.
Hey, Sen.
Uh-huh.
Would we be able to see any sort of ruins from here?
No. From what you guys can tell looking around you, both because of your perception rolls and because of the spacing around, at least within about 100 feet or so around you, there is no markers of any civilization. Just trees and graves.
But wouldn't there be some sort of mark of ruins or something else of the sort if there used to be a civilization here?
Nah, you don't bury your dead right next to town.
That just asks for ghosts, and this place is already spooky enough.
Well,
I mean, I suppose I see your point, but with the deity taking hold here, I'm not certain that the current residents would be that concerned about that.
Very astute, Doc. I say, if there are any other paths, them paths might be leading us to some ruins, or perhaps even a village what's still standing.
A village would be nice. I would really. She stumbles over kill. I would kill for something more to cover up, and I'm sure Ellie could use something else too.
I get the impression you've killed for less.
Honestly, yeah, village sounds really nice. That way I can get some more cover for myself. Definitely not built for the cold.
And definitely,
me neither.
And definitely anything that they might have in a village would probably make a lot better of a location to rest than those pole mats that they had in the orc camp.
Can I look for a path?
Mm-hmm. So that 16 was specifically on how obvious this stuff would be. You can tell this is a well-traveled path. Specifically, the graves are basically on a not necessarily a road, but it's pretty much the entire stretch of graves is directly between the Trail of Blighteers and the a well-worn large path. From what you can tell, based on your knowledge of the battle, essentially, of Trail of Blighteers, and Leon, if you want to roll no, you don't have it. Well, you can roll history. Whoever wants to, if you have history, you can roll it. God damn.
Wow. Nice.
You would be able to tell very well that most likely, based on surroundings and what you know of the orcs, is very likely that they would be walking through, especially with how large that gap is, they would be walking through that large gap to get to the Trail of Blighteers, and most likely would be walking through these gravestones. Why these things are set up that way, not a clue. Maybe it's for them to remember the fallen, maybe it's for 100 different reasons, maybe it's glory in death, and so they're reminded of it every time they walk towards it. But the path itself is almost directly aligned with the Trail of Blighteers, and based on your history knowledge of orcs, it's very likely that they would just take the straight path there. So ideally, that large path would lead back to the main orc force. There's a side path, as you can see inside the picture here, which does have some, footsteps, I guess? Some tracks of less well-worn. It's definitely a lot less well-worn. And considering how dense the forest is, it's unlikely y'all would be able to see anything down the forest path. So yeah, the footsteps for this are slightly well worn. There's also this is again
if an army's marching down the path, presumably there's got to be like at least a 50-foot wide path then if they're sending armies down here regularly.
Yeah, so the one that you're seeing right here is a much smaller one, and then to y'all's right, or well, the right of this picture, I suppose, about 20 or well, probably about 50 or so feet to the right, there's a much larger open path, which is where the graves are. So that's the super well-worn path. It looks like they've been charging on that for most of the wars, just based on how large the path is, how well-worn the ground is, the fact that the trees don't seem to cover that area, which is usually what happens when a path is well worn enough. Vegetation doesn't grow over it because it just gets stomped out. This one does have a little bit more vegetation, a little bit more trees starting to bend over the area. Looks a lot less well worn, looks a lot smaller. Probably much less people go down it, more or less a side path of sorts.
Okay, I'm confused again. So is this on the path that they would send like war machines, like trebuchets and stockades through? This grave is on that path, or it's on a side path? Is like if it's on a path that war machines went through, we'd be able to see.
Yeah, the to the best of your knowledge, at least I would assume best of your knowledge, yeah, with your history probably, the orcs don't have many war machines. If they did, it would probably be down roughly the path with the graves. Although you don't see much of a area for it to be, but let me move something real quick. Oh, nice, that's updating. Yeah, so you guys can't really see where necessarily a war machine path would be if they did have some.
Okay, but then so this wouldn't be like a path you'd send an army down where these graves are.
The graves, it's large enough for a small portion of the army to go through, most certainly. The bulk of the army, you would not suspect would go through all at once, or if they did, it would take a long time for them to do so, which in theory, based on your knowledge of how long it takes for these wars to go through, or to set up, I should say, possibly they could send them down this path over and over again, but there might be other paths that they might also go down. This could be single file one potentially, or it could be more of a scouting path. You're not quite sure, but the graves is definitely for a decent party to go through.
Hey Sen, one last question about those graves.
Yes.
Do any of them look like they've been disturbed?
No.
That's really shocking, actually.
Yep. Now, a single one, I mean, obviously the ground seems to be disturbed for the most part, but the hedgestones themselves don't.
I just meant, did it look like any of the graves had been, like, dug up or something like that?
Oh, no, not a single one. Some portions of it look like it's been stomped down, although not for quite some time, but none look like they've been pulled up or dug up or anything of that sort, like zombies or anything like that.
I keep on hearing... I've heard all these tales involving the necromancers of this area, but I don't understand why it doesn't seem as if any of them have had any activity here.
Maybe they don't travel this far out.
Maybe they just wait until they get to the actual battle. I mean, it's just right over there. There's a whole bunch of fresh bodies.
True, but there's also an ample supply of fresh bodies right here.
They aren't as fresh as the ones that would have just died in battle, though.
Also, if I'm gonna raise an undead horde, I'm gonna go for the orcs, not the dragonborns and the humans and the orcs what didn't fall in battle.
To add to that, since there was a lot of orcs and humans in this gravesite, Ruina and I might have to cover our ears in case the possible village we meet at is friendly. That way they don't attack us. It just because of the whole orcs and half-elves thing.
I might be able to brew a potion to assist with that, but it probably wouldn't exactly work as a good disguise for long.
I think it's an hour, if I remember correctly.
I'm gonna have to double check. The experimental elixir specifically works differently.
I mean, just to
it
cover
works for
our
10
ears
minutes.
10 minutes.
and Amar.
My potions work. That potion works for 10 minutes.
Well,
But yeah.
we'll deal with that if we get to a village.
So would you guys like to walk down the...
Would still need some time to prepare that potion either way.
That's true. So would you guys like to walk down the non-trotted often path, the smaller, a little bit more trees hanging over it one you see here, or would you like to go down the much wider, much larger, well-walked terrain, or would you guys like to try to find a different one with more perceptions? Or survivals. Yeah, the one works.
My vote would be the smaller path. What does everyone else think?
I mean, it makes sense to go down the smaller path because there could be a bunch of villages here or just like one big one. But with one big one, it'd be like a big path, so...
If there's a village here, small path probably points to it. Otherwise, warpath probably takes us to, well, straight into the heart of the forest faster.
As much as it pains me to agree with the tiefling, yes, I think we should go down the less trodden path.
I mean, I only said that just simply because it seemed like that would be less likely to run into an army.
Yeah, it still just pains me to agree with you.
You know, not gonna comment. I'm just gonna turn around and start walking down the path.
I love that. Alright, so you guys start walking down the path. It gets definitely into night, quite a ways into the path. Probably about 2 hours of walking, I would say. Do you guys do anything during this 2 hour period, or you guys just kind of walk in silence and cold?
I mean, I suppose it would be an interesting opportunity to be looking for odd plants or herbs or other things on the sides of the pathway.
That's true.
Would that be a survival or a perception?
Shivering.
Survival. What was that, Ellie?
I just start shivering crazy. The longer we're here, the further we go.
Oh yeah, you're very cold.
I think I might have a few torches if that would be useful.
I think I have one in my inventory too.
Do you need a fire pellet?
Definitely be warm, but it would be.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, so
you do find quite a few plants around. Feel free to kind of maneuver some into your inventory, whichever ones you need that you assume would be relatively easy to find for your ingredients. Are most of the ones that you do find. Do you have anything specific that you're looking for, or is it just random plants?
We never exactly agreed upon what sort of plants or herbs would be in or used for potion making. And these are materials I'm looking for a potion specifically, not really elixir making.
What potions are you? Oh, right. Okay, so
I'm trying to see if I can find materials to make healing potions.
Okay. So with that 17, let me roll something real quick. Ooh, just barely not going to kill you. Okay, so you do find some plants. You with your slightly superior eyesight, you can in fact tell that some of these plants are vicious is the word you would assume. As you get kind of close to them, some of them start snapping at you, and you are able to move your feet without really getting anywhere near the possibility of being injured. But you do find some other plants which are some interesting colors, from what you can tell at least, just the different shades of gray, different shades of very close to coloration on the color wheel. As you do manage to, cut into them, pick them up, and everything like that, they are relatively good, from what you can tell, to be used in healing potion crafting. The very bottom line of healing, whatever it's called, the regular healing potions, I guess. I hate the fact they don't give that a special name. I really do. But, yeah, these plants should work for at least one batch of... It's not lesser healing potion. It's just regular healing potion. I hate you, game. There's greater healing potions. There's ultimate healing potions, superior healing potions, and then normal healing potions.
Am I safe in the assumption that one batch would correspond to one bottle of potion?
Yeah. So you find roll me a 1d4.
D4. All right. No, I said 1d4, not 2. What the heck is with this thing? Try that.
All right, cool. You find 3 batches, so you're able to make 3 potions when you have the time.
And I'll definitely be doing that on the next instance of camping.
Cool. So you guys are walking for about 2 hours-ish. Ellie's freezing and shivering. Oliver randomly will walk over to the edge of the path and start poking at flowers, and some of them start snapping at him loudly, but doesn't seem like anything has picked up your guys' trail so far. Rowena and Leon.
Do you even know what you're doing, Tiefling? Like, be careful.
You need to check these plants somehow. Besides, with the materials I found here, I could actually probably make a total of 3 healing potions.
Well, that's definitely really good. Though my experience with forest plants isn't always that great, but I trust you.
Yeah.
This point?
You're... Go on.
At this point, I'm just glad that this method is working out reasonably well. And these are plants that I have seen through the trading grounds before.
If you say so. Ellie, dear.
Yes?
What was that weird poem you said that one time?
Oh, the one from Paylor?
It's in your
Yeah, I
journal.
found it.
Yep.
The mark of one blends into.
Bends.
Together and separated you were. A close companion or a feared foe. The choice to be is always yours.
Does that mean anything to you?
I haven't figured it out yet. Paylor tends to talk in riddles and doesn't give full detail about what he means, but I'm sure we'll figure it out as we go. But I'm sure it's important in some way.
And how long have you been communicating with Paylor?
I can reassure you I'm not crazy, but I've been in communication with him for basically my whole life, it feels like.
Oh, it feels like, okay.
That's how I know that really he doesn't talk much, but I trust him for the most part.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Shaky, do you have anything to add to that?
He is 20 feet behind all of you, just kind of trudging behind you. His hands are in his armpits, and he's just muttering to himself.
I think we need to become a walking cuddle puddle.
Oh god.
Follow.
I mean, I'd agree enough with the fact that I'm expecting a dagger from Rowena if I do that.
Don't get close to me.
Follow the 3 mercenaries. There's safety in numbers. They won't lead you into graveyards or try to kill people with frying pans, you fucking genius!
What are you muttering back there?
What?
He's complaining to himself under his breath as he follows behind, like at the 20-foot distance.
This guy, you guys
Careful
could
not
just
to get snagged back there.
Indeed, the plants around here seem to be a little bit on the wild side if you get too close.
It's
Freaking
not
man
my...
traps, just mutters under his breath.
I'm fine. It's not my first time in a forest.
Is it your first time on the dark side, I guess you could call it?
No.
You've
No,
been
that really
here
intrigues me, actually.
before. I know.
Do you want to take lead?
The entire group just turns and looks at him.
Record scratch.
No.
Why not? You won't die.
I think
I
we
think
all
it'll be
agreed
quite the
that Ruina
achievement
was
if
in
I beat up a
charge.
plant with a fry pan.
Whoa. I'm in charge of myself. I'm not in charge of what you guys do, especially the tiefling.
Yeah, you're in charge of yourself, and we're following you. It's a good system.
It's odd. That's all. I'm not used to people following me. I'm used to going out on my own, you know.
Well,
Okay.
I'll have you know you have a companion. Her name is Ellie. And she will beat up a lot of orcs for you.
You already have.
I know.
Believe me, I'd rather not have to fight any more orcs than I have to. Who either.
Regardless, the only direction I'm leading us is out of this forest, so if we're going deeper, one of y'all's gonna have to point the way.
Hey,
I'll
Sin,
try.
you said it was two. You said it was 2 more hours in that we've traveled, so that would mean that this would be total darkness, right?
Oh yeah. You
Unlike
guys
me, I
are,
can't see too far out of here either.
yeah, you guys are in very much so complete darkness at the moment. Rowena is just following the path laid out before you guys. You guys can maybe see about 15 feet ahead of you before it starts to become too dark for you guys to properly see anything besides very slight shapes, mostly the trees, as well as to your left and right you guys can see the tree outline too.
Hey, Doc, you got horns? You can see through all this?
I can see I can see a little ways in front of me. Or around us, I suppose.
Ain't tieflings supposed to, like, be able to see at nighttime?
I can promise you maybe 60 feet.
Eh.
It'd probably be good for you to take lead then, or at least be close to the front.
I don't like it, but I suppose that's reasonable.
Well, you'll have at least me close by, relatively, but I can't see too well, so.
I see your point. I guess I'll take lead then.
I'll be right here, Oliver.
That's what scares me.
It's okay, I'll be right by her.
Don't worry, I'll
I appreciate
take her
that.
soul. It's fine.
So I guess I'm taking front. So
Cool.
rest of the positions?
Mm-hmm. Cool. As you guys are walking for probably another, I don't know, hour or so, roll me perception, Oliver. It's not a very high DC.
Gosh darn it, where is that? There we go. You say that, but I have rolled above a 10 once today.
Can I assist?
You're more than
Be like,
welcome
this
to,
is what
yeah.
you need to look for.
Roll me another perception since she's assisting you.
Okay.
Alright, cool, yeah.
I don't think I see anything.
Do we get
You
another
do. The DC was 6, but, you know, just barely. As you are walking, you, like, turn your head to, like, look at your companions, possibly to ensure she doesn't stab you, before you kind of snap your head back, forwards again. And you see, as you do so, and you're, like, scanning the area, you see a flicker in the distance. It's a very small flicker, much past your 60 feet vision, but it is a flicker you notice for a couple of seconds.
Hold up. I saw a light flash a second over there.
Maybe that's a sign of a village.
Perhaps. I'm gonna try and get a... Can I get a more focused look from where I'm standing, or do I have to get closer?
You can get a more focused look, yeah. As you are... Do you guys have binoculars on you by any chance? I doubt it.
I do not believe I have those.
Verena is just gonna say, point the direction out where you saw it.
I will do so.
Okie dokie.
And then she's gonna kind of like try and stealth over.
Cool. So you start making your way over, and it's probably about 40, maybe 50 feet or so, before you kind of go up a slight little hill. And you can actually see where it is. It is a fire in the distance. From what you can tell, it's a fire surrounded by rocks, but you can't see much more of that from your vantage angle.
Okay. I'll just quietly sneak back to them. Tell them that.
A fire?
Did I see any shapes around the fire?
You did not. Just what you assumed
I
to be
didn't.
rocks from what you could see from your angle. Your vision's not quite good enough, and the fire's not quite large enough for you to tell past that.
Just a creepy standalone fire, it looks like you saw.
That tells
Well,
me... So somebody is out here, then.
yeah, it must be a controlled fire. Someone would have had to light it. It just doesn't spontaneously light itself.
I mean, unless it's something that I don't know about. I mean, there's plants here that are snapping at the tiefling. Shaky. Have you ever heard of a fire that lights itself?
Will-o'-the-wisp? No. Nope. I've heard of fires what don't go out.
I think it's safe to say we can get a little closer. Maybe we'll be able to see better, but
Wait, before we go further, I do have a question.
Actually, that reminds me. As a physical fire, I can cast Thaumaturgy on it to make it burst brighter for a second.
No, you could. What's your question, Shaky?
Why are we in Cataclysm? I assume you guys came here for a reason, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here.
You and me both at this point, if not for the fact that just simply going straight back to the village that I came from would probably have been suicide. That's the only real reason I'm still here.
Okay, so you're going to Cataclysm because you're running from your home. Hey,
kind of. I was talking about, crud, what was it called? Rio Tao?
Yeah.
I was talking about Rio Tao, but...
Right. Okay, but you could have run the other way.
At this point, I'm pretty sure, regardless of which direction you walk, it's not exactly 100% safe to walk alone. Especially consider I don't really have much in terms of combat capability up close.
Alright, fair point. What about you two? What exactly are we looking for here?
I was just following Rurina because I didn't really have a specific quest or journey to go on. It was mostly just to find out about the resistance. And then I found out about the war. And here we are. So I'm just going to be following Rurina.
Oh, it's a little flattering. I am here. I'm a scout for the Elvish army. I'm trying to find out some information, and then I will head back and inform them of what the orcs are doing, what is going on, you know.
Okay, so we're going into Cataclysm to spy on the orcs then, correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
But not to stay long. I'm a scout. I'm here to look and go. I'm not a spy.
No, I got my answer. I think this means that, Ruina, you're in charge, and, you get to decide how we approach the fire.
I could probably change out its brightness level if that's of use. It's one of the few innate spells I can cast.
Well, okay. I hate it. I hate it. She turns to Ellie. I really hate accepting help from him. I just don't like it. It just
What was
rubs
that?
me
I
the
couldn't
wrong
hear
way.
you.
I really hate taking help from the tiefling. It just rubs me the wrong way.
Are you saying that loud enough for him to hear?
I mean, it was just a suggestion, if that's not the way you want to do it.
No, but it's
Well-
a good suggestion. That's the problem.
At this point, we need all the suggestions we could use at our advantage. So, and he's been with us quite a while and helped us along the way. And plus, if
Yes.
push comes to shove, we have ways to, I guess, punish. But he's been pretty trustworthy, and yeah. So, I think his suggestion's pretty good. I think at this point we just have to give it a try.
Do you guys want to sneak up to the... There's a little bit of a rise, you said, rise. You said, Sin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a slight hill that you guys can see. On the sides as well, from what you could tell, is starting to go up a little bit as well. The trees are starting to go a little bit higher, at least from what you guys can see. The path itself seems to be decently straight. It doesn't curve too much. It does go a little bit higher up, but the two sides are definitely going up a little bit.
Shall we all just, like, sneak stealthily over there, and then the tiefling can do whatever he was talking about, and we can see if we can see anything.
I think that's a pretty good idea. As long as we
Okay.
stick close together, because he's the only one with the good eyesight.
Alright then. I'm ready. I'm willing to take care of it if that's going to be useful.
Cool.
Certainly not going to be walking up to that camp without knowing what I'm getting myself into either way.
As you guys have been walking, one thing that is noticeable as it's been getting chillier is the sound of the dirt changing. You guys are slowly stomping onto thicker and thicker snow as you guys are walking forwards. Unfortunately, there is no real light to reflect off the snow, so the only actual ability you guys can tell that it is snow is by the sounds of it crunching.
I'm a die.
Hmm?
Sorry, I was remembering that my character's literally wearing sandals.
She is, yes, and you also would have never encountered snow before.
Yeah, same. This is blowing my mind.
Yeah, so you guys are hearing a different sound under your feet. Not sure if you guys have even properly registered that yet, but it is definitely, especially as you guys have been slowly walking for like the last 2 hours or so, it has been definitely changing. It is maybe a couple inches of snow, but it is definitely a colder feeling. But considering you're completely cold, really not sure if you guys would have noticed it by now. But that is something to keep in mind. Okay.
Is anyone else's feet feeling extra cold and extra wet suddenly?
A bit, I suppose. But I just looked down at my boots. It's pretty hard to feel through these.
I mean,
I
stuffed my boots with extra socks.
My boots are made for scouting.
So, just me. Alright.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd offer you the cloth from my herbalism kit, but I only have one, and I will be needing that probably to make these potions later.
It's alright. Let's just try to get to the top of the little hill, so...
Cool.
Actually, that reminds me.
Hmm?
That reminds me of something else.
What's that?
Let's see. I believe it's actually an effect of thaumaturgy.
Mm-hmm.
No, never mind. That was a prestidigitation. Never mind. I can't do it.
Okie dokie.
If you're wondering what I was talking about, prestidigitation basically has the ability of you can heat or chill an object.
Oh yeah. One of my other players in a play by post campaign that I'm a player in, he tends to use it to light up torches. It's kind of entertaining. But yeah, so you guys continue to make your way, I assume, rather silently. Well, as much as you can get inside of a snow terrain.
Yeah. And as silent as we can be when we're walking through snow.
Yeah, Rowena, give me a stealth check. I'll just use that majority for the group. Roll me at disadvantage,
no pressure.
actually.
Stealth at disadvantage. Okay. I'm so nervous.
You got this.
Not horrible.
Yep.
17, pretty good.
There you go. All right.
Oh, 17.
23. Oh my.
All right, cool. So you guys are rather quiet. Whenever somebody's about to stomp on something particularly loud, Rowena tends to kind of move them slightly so they're a little bit quieter. As you guys eventually enter into this village. Now imagine most of these are tents instead of wooden houses. But yeah. I will put you guys here-ish, which you guys can barely see. It's fine. Bomb right. I will put you guys more into the light source right there so you guys can actually see your own characters. Yeah. But anyways, most of these are tents instead of actual houses, so don't worry about that. You guys can see the fire. Quite a distance away from you guys. You guys are more like right here-ish, but you guys are roughly in that area. It looks as usual to be pure nighttime. Probably about 3 p.m.-ish at this point. As the fire is burning in the middle, from what Oliver can tell, because he has a little bit better eyesight than the rest of you, and the fact that the fire is burning, you guys are much closer now. It is surrounded by, as you saw, stones, but then there's also a couple of tracks leading away, and then you can also see this particularly large, we're going to call this a tent right here, quite distant. So
Well, Tiefling, do your thing.
Okay, so how close am I to that? Crap, wrong button.
Oops. I wonder if I can make this brighter. Can I make this brighter? What happens if I do that?
So I'd need to be right around here in order to cast a spell on it.
Mm-hmm.
Need to be within 30 feet of the fire to cast Thaumaturgy on it.
Well, you're more than able to get closer.
I'm going to move in then.
Okay. And then you're going to lay up.
Be quiet.
Sorry. I'm going to try and do it silently.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yes.
You are probably relatively silent. I don't know what your stealth bonus is typically.
My stealth bonus is a +3 at the moment.
Well, that's not too bad. So especially with the snow under you and things like that, and the fire crackling, you probably would not be heard, especially if you're going slowly.
All right. I will cast Thaumaturgy on the flames, and I will cause it to slowly and subtly become brighter.
Cool. I just don't put it at 9. Oh, you guys can see that. There we go.
Wow.
Oh my!
That's a rude wake-up call.
Turn that back down.
I said I'm doing it slowly.
Well, you know, okay. Oh, let me just do that, and then that, and then let's it slowly. There we go. Incrementally, you know. There we go, and then one more. Not quite as bright as I had last time, but pretty bright. There you go. And then it drops back down. Oops, I need 2.
I don't think it actually drops back down. I think I...
Oh, does it not? Oh, okay,
Let me double check that.
Stick it at 7 then.
Let me see here. Here we go. Posting the... Oh, I posted twice. My gosh, I'm an idiot.
1 minute.
Oh, I can get rid of one of those.
Yeah, it looks like it lasts a minute.
All right,
So that
cool.
would be 10 turns roughly.
Yep. So it is quite bright. I'm gonna lower that for anybody who's
Causes
sensitive
doors
to
to
light.
open.
Huh? Just randomly walks up to a door and unlocks it.
Yeah, Thaumaturgy is an interesting spell. I would have preferred Prestidigitation, but that's unfortunately not available for the spellcasting type.
Yeah. So the light does glow quite a bit brighter. You guys can see a little bit more of the area surrounding. You guys can see a wheelbarrow right there. You guys can see a lot of the things. You guys do see a human come out. I do not have a picture for them.
Ellie quickly covers her ears.
I need a human. Do I have a human? I don't have a human. You know what? I will
Probably
use.
already lost them. Did it frostbite?
What?
I was saying Ellie quickly covers her ears, but they're probably already gone due to frostbite.
Well, you know, it's only a little bit bad to have frostbite. It's fine. Frostbite has never killed anyone. Don't worry, I'm perfectly
That
fine.
might actually be true. It's usually hypothermia what gets you.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. Let's see. Can I find humans? Is there human pictures on here?
I mean, you can take the core or human picture from the base human race on the D&D Beyond page or something like that.
That's true. I found a.
Do you want me to just?
I mean, especially just
folder
simply
with,
given
like,
the fact that I
400
just mentioned
tokens?
it out loud just has proved we know it's not our stuff.
If
did
you're
kinda
able to
just
send
play
me
our source.
some Shaky, I would love some pictures. Well, we have this guy. He exists now. Let me. Can I show him to people? I probably can.
I can see the NPC's token right there.
Make visible all players. There. Does that work? Well, that kind of works. Sure.
Could probably work.
Kind of wish I could
So
show
I assume
you
since you
his
have it labeled
other
here that this is a
thing.
warrior that is something that I can garner from this person's appearance.
Yeah, I wish I could show you his other artwork.
Or was I supposed to have to roll for that?
Oh, that's just his normal artwork. From what you can tell, this guy just looks like more or less average everyday person. He's wearing a lot of clothes. He is wearing probably some kind of fur coat, more or less. He's a bit more bulky than you've seen a lot of most people. His pants are particularly thick. And he has snow boots, and he has a hood that's currently down over his neck. He is a full human, as you can tell, from both his ears and his appearance. But he's kind of like walking out,
Hello?
looking at the fire.
Everything's gone silent.
Oh, can you hear me? Hello? Did I?
Yeah.
Nope.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
Oliver, you alive? And you
Aggressive
hear
technique.
us? Oliver? I think. Hello? Oliver?
I can hear nothing from anyone else. What the heck just happened?
No.
You died.
What'd you do? Well, I guess it's time to talk about the tiefling.
We don't talk about the tiefling.
So I have this scimitar. I was
It says here my connection's slow. Let me try reconnecting and see what happens.
Yeah, okay. Oh, he's
Okay.
gone. Yes. No, if you have some, I would be happy to have some pictures.
Yeah, zipping up a folder now as we speak.
Nice, nice. Faster than I am. Oliver, can you hear us? Are you alive?
Uh-oh.
Can thou hearest the us of us's? That's us us's. Love it, us's is just uses.
Yeah.
Oliver, my man, Mr. Tiefling. Other names that we may have for you. Aura, Oliver,
Liar.
Tiefling, Fire.
Ollie, answer.
No,
Devilkin.
liar.
Devilkin.
Fiend blood.
Siva.
Does anybody else remember the Dovahkiin song? Dragonborn, whatever it was. Anybody else remember that?
I do not, because I don't know.
The silence is your answer.
Did I hit him with my fry pan?
Dovakin song right on. This is the on. I gotta turn off my game sounds so no one hears here's the possibly copyrighted music, hon. Make sure that's not going through, hon. I assume that's not going through. Oh, good, that's not. Okay, cool. Is this the right song? Yeah, that's the right song. Okay, here we are. There we go. Oliver, you're muted if that helps you in any way, shape, or form. What's that? Why are you attacking Ellie? There's no one to attack yet.
I was trying to get his attention.
Ah, yes, by bashing his skull open.
Okay,
Oh,
I
I
didn't
didn't mean to
expect
do
it
that.
to roll so high.
Oh, are we doing PvP now? Okay.
Walks up,
I
bashes
was
his
trying to
skull
see how.
open. Why does that say 1.3 feet? Chicky. Oh, Jesus. Chicky, how'd you get 1.3 feet on you?
I don't know.
Why is that there? How did that exist? What the fuck? Oh my god, it's gone now.
Right. So
Oliver,
the
you there?
tiefling, what we're going to do is when he's sleeping,
Oh, can you hear us?
taking this. He says his system's freaking out.
Yeah. I can't hear me. I have to type it. Can you switch to your phone? Question mark. Sorry, viewers. Technical difficulties as per usual.
Ba-da-da-da-da.
But yeah, this Dovahkiin song is one I've been listening to for years now. Hello? Can you hear us yet? Man, his system is not happy. Oh.
A glimmer of hope.
A slightest glimmer. Hope has been risen. Will it fall or will it die?
Yeah, I don't know
Oh,
what's
there
going
we-
on with my PC at the moment. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. If as long as you can hear us, that's the good part. I don't know what's going on with the PC, but it sounds like it died
Yeah,
hard.
I think I'm gonna have to ask you who to be the controller of my character from here, for the moment. Sin.
Oof. That's not a problem.
Thank you.
Ow.
Sorry. I hope this doesn't have to become a commonality because, dear God, this is frustrating.
Ow. You seem
Promise
to have some...
we didn't do anything to your character.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a weird static thing
There-
while you stop talking.
Strangely enough,
I mean,
the only one of us who
that's
didn't attack you was
with
Bruno.
Ow.
Oh, my.
Oh no.
I just need to. I'm thinking that statue thing.
Oh, Dan, you have some static on you. Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Ow. Okay,
The
nope.
phone is unfortunately not as good when it comes to sound quality, and so this is
Oh
the best
no,
I can
it's
afford to do at the moment.
it's like almost a scratching static every now and again.
It's like putting your nails on the mic
Yeah.
and then running them over it.
To be fair, I am kind of walking around now, so sorry about that.
Well, now it's better. Oh, now it's not. Every time I say it. Alright.
Sorry. I'm trying to get down to a consistent location. My phone wasn't exactly right next to me.
Ah, you're good.
Okay, is this any better? Is this any better? I am now sitting.
Yeah, that's better. Why is there 1.3 feet on one of my screens but not the other? I'm so confused.
I have no idea.
Why is that?
Anyway,
how is
so
that
what were you saying? It cut off right the moment I commented that it was a warrior.
Yeah. So, this guy, what the fuck? Oh, it's a cone. Okay. But yeah, so this guy, seems to be a, he's wearing almost like a fur skin coat, He has pretty thick underlayers, considering is, as you guys can see, quite white around, which for Leon makes complete sense. For the rest of you makes very little sense. Is very white around, is very cold, so he's wearing a lot of layers, has snow boots, does not seem to have a weapon on him, weirdly enough. But he does look at the fire very curiously and very confused as well.
Does he look particularly malicious?
Nope. He looks like a guy who didn't get woken up necessarily. It just he looks like an average guy who just looks very confused. It's like if you walked into a bar, grabbed the nearest person and pulled him outside and had him stare at a fire.
And I assume that's very literally as to basically what just happened.
Pretty much. You do hear a voice from within calling out in common, a very rough and gruff voice saying, "What's out there, Jimmy?" That guy just kind of stares at the fire. He's just like, the fire expanded. Yeah.
Would I be safe in the assumption that if I tried to slip back to the group, the crackle of the fire is still loud enough that he probably wouldn't be able to hear it?
Yeah, and it's also snow. With most people who are not used to snow will be able to tell when somebody walks up, but somebody's used to enough snow, it just becomes static, essentially. So yeah, you would not be noticed if you walked away. He's just staring at the fire, kind of walking almost like around it every now and again, just kind of like staring at it, like, ah.
I'm going to reconverge with the rest of the group then.
Alright, cool.
Gosh darn it does not want to let me move.
Yeah.
And did we get a good look at the person as well?
I mean, I'd wager you could probably see him by the fire.
Yeah, with how intense the fire is, you certainly were able to see him.
Okay.
Hmm?
He seems friendly, maybe.
You, however, did not hear the gruff voice inside. You simply heard him calling out behind him that the fire had expanded.
Well, I guess we
really
definitely gave them a rude wake-up call.
What was that?
So for the sake of since I can't really control my immediate position right now, I'm just going to say that I went back to the group and just whispered to them, "Should I terminate the spell?" It should immediately go back to normal when I do.
Just let it.
Ow.
Wow. You could just let it run out. It shouldn't last that long, right?
Only about 60 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
All right then. What do you guys think? Should we approach?
Shaky, where are you going?
What? I'm here. I'm with you.
Why are you always so far behind? You know what? You do you.
Do you need some rope, Shaky, so you don't get lost?
I can see fine, thanks to the fire.
Do you want to hold my pan?
If holding your pan means you can't use it against me, then sure.
Oh no, I'd be holding the other end of it, just to make sure you don't get lost.
I'm good, thank you.
But it's a human. What's the worst that can happen? It's not an orc.
I mean, you're not wrong, and generally,
I'm gonna try not to take offense to that.
I'm just gonna say you don't want to kind of hear the answer to that. Humans have pretty much gone everywhere, and well, there's a concept of a bandit.
Yes, but there's only one of them right now.
I mean, I could hear a voice from inside the building, so I'd wager there's probably more. I'd wager there's probably at least one for each one of these tents.
Well, there's this thing where it's cold and there's a fire, and I feel like maybe we should take a chance. If not for my sake, at least for Ellie's sake. And she kind of points at her feet.
I see your point.
Yeah, unless someone wants to carry me, I won't be able to move much longer, I think.
Fair enough. But you will. But I won't be able to make you look like a different species if that's what you're intending to do.
No, I'm quite proud to be an elf, thank you. And then she starts walking.
Oh, God.
Ellie follows close behind her because she doesn't want to get lost.
I will be following probably a few steps behind and to the side.
I'm following what? Sorry, your mic is scratching.
Sorry, I'm going to be following a few steps behind and probably to the side as well.
Alright, cool. There we go. Ow.
Dang, I can't even see the board updating.
Yeah. Alright, there we go. Okay. And Shaky, I've completely lost you. Where are you?
Good.
Oh, there.
I knew it. I knew we'd lose him.
You know, what the heck? I'm just rebooting this PC and seeing if it does anything better when I do that. Because I cannot see anything happening.
I legitimately had to search for Shaky for a second there.
Hey, question, guys. Above the table, do these tents look vaguely like thatched roofed housing to you?
Ow.
Sorry, I got up. Yep. Sorry, I got up again. I just need to hold this mic still, if nothing else. Sorry, that's my bad.
Oh, your mic, my man.
Somehow everyone is just okay with Rowena of 9 intelligence making the choices. Granted, yes, she does have 17 wisdom. So, you know, there's that.
I'm in a position where I can bolt if things go south.
It's a good.
Yeah.
Just to double verify, your Rowena's plan with her sweet 9 intelligence is to walk into this camp, which most likely could possibly be an orc camp, displaying her elvenness.
Elvishness?
Elvish.
Yes.
Elvish. Okay, cool.
I mean, my ears and Mark are showing, so I think more of my elfishness is showing.
Yeah,
she's taking a chance. She sees a human. She's like, I don't want to be picking up Ellie's toes as they fall off. You know.
That's fair, right? So you guys walk more or less into view of the fire, and the human who was looking at the fire with a very curious voice does in fact hear you, as you're not making any attempts to be quiet, and looks up and looks at you, and he looks at Rowena, and his perception is not very good, so he kind of smiles at her, and then he sees Ellie's mark more than anything else, and his smile gets confused, you would say. I think there's an insight.
Falls
Yes,
to the ground.
Is there an insight? There is an insight. If you guys want to roll insight on me, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, he looks with curiosity, confusion, and possibly something else. But you guys can't tell.
Oh, what is something else? I want to.
Right,
I need to. Oh no. Insight?
Yeah, insight.
Okay.
Hey!
It makes sense.
Yeah, that fits. Yeah, you possibly happiness. Yeah. Not quite sure. Very not sure. You could definitely tell it's confusion and interest and Ellie. Rowena thinks possibly happiness. You think possibly, oh no.
I just dropped to the ground. I'm done.
Yeah, it's not oh no on your part, it's a oh no in his face. It's his face saying, ah, shit, we're all about to die, fuck. He's really not hiding it well.
Rowena just holds holds up her hands, tries to look like, hello, not here to like murder everyone, relax. She doesn't say that, but that's what she's trying to give off.
I was about to say.
As I step in the light, I'm probably just going to make the comment. Sorry about the sudden brightness. The forest doesn't exactly seem like the safest of locations, so we needed to check quickly. I can dispel that if that would be better.
That's perfectly fine, I suppose. What are you travelers doing here? You hear a voice from inside call out saying, "Jimmy, what the fuck are you doing staring at the goddamn fire for so long? Get inside, it's cold." And Jimmy kind of looks at you guys for a second before looking back. He's like, "It's fine. The fire is very intriguing. I'll be back inside in just a minute. Yeah, I like the fire. It's kind of warm. It's nice. Don't worry about it." And he turns to look back at you guys.
About that, if nothing else, can we at the very least get the permissions to sit near it for a little while? One of our companions is a little on the chilly side at the moment.
It'd be greatly appreciated if I could get some warmth of sorts, or at least somewhere to physically feel better.
Well, travelers, he does seem, from what you guys can tell, probably about 30-ish years old. But he looks at you and he's like, "Well, travelers, normally I would say yes. We don't tend to exclude many people, but we're an orc human village. Specifically half-orcs tend to live here quite often. My buddy Boo in there, Rock Knock, well, you guys are half-elves. You understand the orc-elfish fights. Most orcs don't take well to elves. If you guys hid your elfishness, it would be fine. I mean, we take in humans all the time, especially ones from Ryotao, but I would personally not like to see your heads on a platter. I don't really get the war myself, so
I could make a couple elixirs of alter self if they could get me an hour, but I get this feeling we don't have that time.
Nah, all you really need to do is hide your ears and your arm. You both are shockingly, he kind of looks at Ellie. You're actually very light. That's odd.
Yeah, I grew up in the forest. I didn't get much sunlight.
Oh. Well, you actually pass for more than a human in this territory than you do most. But that tattoo on your arm, it's, that's a bad mark. At least...
What? It is?
See, there's a story that goes around in the Orcan villages. It comes from the head chieftain, who his village is actually not too far from here. It's why we're mostly under his orders. There's a lot of different orc villages. Don't worry about it. You guys probably won't be seeing very many of them. It's an old tale, especially told by some of the elder orcs, ones who survive anyways. They get real grumpy if they don't get to go off to battle. But they have a story that told of the true marks. Apparently, every race that we know of has had one that's had these marks, and, excuse me for my language, but as the older orcs say, fucking little godforsaken orcs with the fucking little people don't have the goddamn marks and the fucking hills. They all have the fucking marks because they're all fucking righteous fucking assholes. He says this in Orcish, by the way.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, sorry. There's only really one way to explain that properly, so you really have to say
Honestly,
it in the language.
Yeah, Orcish, you can't really translate. You have to say it.
Yeah. But in most words, they really hate that the elves still have people with their marks. Apparently it's a thing where they find the elves to be, what's the word that most people use? Bitches.
Okay.
I personally don't
So
get
about
it.
how many?
Hmm?
How many half-orcs are there here? Is there any way we could just possibly warm up a little bit?
Oh, yeah, just hide your ears and hide the mark. And you'll be good. Probably. As long as your
Where
mark doesn't come into viewage. Then they might take off
do
your
you
arm.
do you have like a spare cloak we could just like use?
Yeah, he kind of like reaches into his pockets and pulls out like a couple bandanas and a couple small cloths and some weird medical equipment like kind of falls out of his pockets like, oop, shit. Let me put that. Yeah, sorry. He like holds out, like walks over to you, holds out some cloth. I always have a couple of cloths on me. Turns out when you have a war-torn band of races and they tend to fight each other for strength, medical knowledge comes in very handy.
You're not wrong.
Oh, don't I know it? And he says, gesturing to the doctor's mask at his side.
Ah, I see you're a man of culture, or a demi-demon of culture.
Just call me doctor. I'm just another pharmacist as any other.
A doctor of culture, I see, yeah, right. But he hands it to you too, before he looks at Ellie on the floor, and it's like, oh, he just starts to tie the band around her arm for her. You look very cold, miss.
Yeah, I'm not built for this type of climate, to say the least.
Yeah, you're showing more skin than most orcs do, and they have a lot more flesh than you.
If you have a bandana, you can just like wrap it around her head, you know, stick her ears up in it.
I could use my mask and just use it as a hood.
That'll work.
Oh.
It is just a cloth of sorts, so.
Mm-hmm. He shrugs. How you want to do is fine. Well, you know, the tavern's open if you guys want to come in and stuff like that. Just don't let them roughhouse you too much. You really don't want that mark to be shown.
Wait, tavern? Are these tents or are these buildings?
Wow.
Tent
Hush,
tavern.
my goddamn there's a word there. Continuity. That's the word. Continuity. We're gonna say that's a tavern tent. That's a tent of a tavern. That's a tavern's tent holder. That's a place of food and food.
It's the big tent.
It's a very big tent. It's a food tent. It's a food.
It's the mess tent.
Mess tent. Thank you. I was trying desperately to think of mess hall, and the first thing I was thinking of was food hall. And I was like, that's not the right word. Food hall is not a word. But the mess tent. Sure, we'll go with that. So which I come into the mess tent. They're currently serving. God, what are they serving today? He kind of like thinks about it for a
Meatloaf.
second. We don't serve meatloaf very often. I think they're serving stew. I want stew.
Well, that
My
sounds
goodness.
great.
Believe me, it's better than jerky and crackers.
Something warm and fresh. And,
Do you guys bother to talk to Shaky as he's all the way over there?
I'm not showing myself yet.
I
not
turned
part of
around.
this scene.
I turned around and I said, "You know what? You do what you want to. You know, she already talked
That's
to him.
fair,
She's
yeah.
dismissed. So Marina's just letting him be.
Reno was just
She's
like,
gonna
I like
take a step
Ellie.
back though.
Alright. Nah, he's like, hey, if you guys want to come in, you're more than welcome to. Tent's open to all who don't try to kill people. It's a thing. We don't really allow much roughhousing inside the tent. Turns out it's hard to fix tents when you don't have a whole lot of material to fix them.
I understand that much. There's a reason that back in my own office, back in Silver Pass, I had a policy which basically stated, so long as you keep your weapons at the door, you are considered my patient.
Yeah, don't upset Big Mama, by the way.
Big Mama?
Yeah, she's the village elder of sorts. She's about 40 years old. Probably the oldest person in this camp. She does not deal with people very well. She's a fantastic, wonderful woman, and she will rip off your head if you upset her. That's why no one fights in the mess tent. Because if they do, half of them die. It's not very often we've had a death, actually. Probably about 15 years since somebody's died inside the tent. But, yeah. Yeah, it's a story you tell your children.
Point taken.
She's so
That,
nice.
keep that in mind.
Hmm? Was that Runa?
I was just gonna ask if this was an actual like fur left out here,
Well, that's nice. That's probably.
or if it's just.
That's
part of
probably
the
them
map
trying
and
to
we should
dry
be
it. It's probably like a elk skin they're trying to dry, which is kind of difficult inside of the snow, but leave it out for long enough, it'll dry eventually.
Okay.
But it's nice.
Well, for certain, whatever happens out here, we will probably be needing something, some sort of thicker clothing, because I get this feeling that none of us are going to be staying out here for too much longer.
No, I'm looking through my inventory, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
I am downright shocked that my kit did not come with a blanket.
It comes with
I
a
have a bedroll.
bedroll, but
It's enough of a blanket, you know how it is. That probably won't fit for this area. That's fine. But yeah, he seems gentle. Question mark. But yeah, he just kind of is like, yeah, I'll let you meet Ragnar too. He's a good guy. He's a good fellow. He has a nice heart. It's buried between 30 pounds of muscle, but it's a nice heart. He's a very gentle man.
May I borrow one of your bandanas?
Oh yeah, he hands it to you.
Yeah. No
My
need to
name's
pay.
Jimmy, by the way. Jimi Hendrix.
Nice to meet you. I am Oliver Richards. And I'm going to offer him a handshake.
He shakes your hand.
Right. I will be back in just one moment. And she takes the headband while she's like tying it. She just takes a couple steps back here.
He nods, and he walks over to Ellie. He's like, do you, need a hand, miss?
that would be greatly appreciated. I can't really feel my limbs.
Yeah, I can see that. He kind of picks you up almost like a bridal style carry. He's probably about 6'1", and he has probably more muscle than most of your legs do. But he just kind of picks you up, and he's like, all right. Well, Tiefling, if you wish to accompany us, you're more than welcome to.
I probably should. I will follow you in.
Cool. Right,
Ellie
so-
panicked, looks around for Rurina because she disappeared.
Yeah, no. Rowena went back to where they walked in.
Mm.
To go look for Shaky.
Yeah, you
Yeah, she's
hear
mumbling
a
her breath.
you hear a psst from behind the trees.
Oh, goodness gracious. What are you doing? Explain.
Something ain't right.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
What?
I can do...
What are you picking up on? This is actually something like I would want to know. Yes.
Can I do that?
Some good
there we
some good Samaritan just letting a half elf what in his camp? Nah. I don't believe it.
Well, maybe Ellie has rubbed off on me. I try to see the best in people.
That sort of thinking's gonna get you killed. Can I climb up this mountain
Yep.
quietly?
You're more than welcome to.
I call it a mountain cliff face. Sweet.
Yep. Small little hill.
Collides with one wall.
Oh.
Can you move it?
Duke.
Sweet. I'm gonna move up to this tent here if I can.
Okay.
I want to try to figure out what it's made out of. Or is it like a canvas tent, or is it made out of like quilted leather or something?
From what you can tell, it's made out of leather, probably from some of the animals that are around us.
Okay,
From
and
our forest nature.
Can I tell like what's suspending the tent? Is it made from wood, metal, the pittons in the ground, or the you know, how what is the tent structure made out of? Trying to figure out how permanent this camp is.
So it seems like a semi-easily removable camp. It would probably be maybe 4 or 5 days to get all the camps out and move about. So they seem semi-wandering. It seems to be made of primarily forest stuff. The trees that you guys have had. I'll bring you up here too if you want to.
Yeah.
Primarily some of the trees that you guys have encountered so far have been rather sturdy. Being able to bend them would be quite difficult, and so these things are mostly held up by those trees. They don't bend very easily, which gives a rather rigid structure. And the leather on top of it, there's also some cloth too, which seems to be hand woven. So it seems like it's been there for probably a little bit of time. But it does seem like it's semi-easily movable. It does not seem like this camp has always been here. It seems like they could pack up and leave within a week if they wish to.
Okay. Follow-up questions. One, how long can I judge how long this has been here? Like, do I see any snow accumulating around where the pittons are? Or,
feel free to roll me, I think, a survival for that one.
Can do. Would you allow me to use investigation?
Sure.
Yeah. That was not the right button to click. I'm learning.
Cool. From what you can tell from this, it's been here for, based on the snow based on the amount of snow that's surrounding it, based on the tread of the ground itself under the snow, based on how worn the leather is and a few other factors, you would probably be able to tell it's been here for maybe 4 or 5 months, to the best of your knowledge.
Okay. Can I hear anything coming from the inside of this one?
You can hear light snoring.
Okay, not a storage tent then. I'm gonna keep moving.
Yeah, okie dokie.
Before he moves, like, Rumina's following him. She's like, I was lying. Am I supposed to leave, Ellie? She's saying this quietly, just like at his back while he's doing things. What was I supposed to do? I'm not gonna let Ellie just freeze. I had to take a chance. I mean, if it was the tiefling, maybe No, I definitely would have just let him, go.
I was gonna say Doc's with her, so she'll be fine. For now, at least.
Yes, but that's why I went in. I had to, Like, I'm not reckless.
What's in this tent? Can I hear anything?
From inside of that tent, it doesn't seem like you can hear anything. Let me roll real quick. Yeah, it does not sound like there's anything inside that tent, no.
I'm gonna lay prone and try to sneak a peek from underneath, see if I can lift up one of the sides and get a look inside.
Okay. It takes a little bit of effort for you to actually lift it. It's probably held down the way it is to prevent A, cold, and B, the snow. So it's a little bit taut at the bottom, but you are able to lift it a little bit, able to see inside. Looks like there is a small mat on the corner of the tent, or, well, it's a circular angle, so probably the far side of the tent from you. Maybe 10 feet in diameter, from what you can guess, if my sizing is correct in my head. There's a little bit of storage things, a small crate full of what looks to be food, few plants for the most part, vegetation, stuff like that. Some that you haven't recognized before, some more like carrots. Seems almost kind of like a food tent of sorts.
Okay, so dry goods storage.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna lean over and I'm gonna say, "Hey, you want to spy on the orcs, right?"
Yes, of course.
Well,
but he said these are all half orcs.
Well, Who do you think's supplying this camp, huh?
Themselves?
Obviously not. The orcs ain't gonna let this camp just sit here and move around in their forest without some sort of agreement.
True, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
These people probably supply the war effort somehow. Taxes, that sort of thing.
Ah, taxes. Yes.
Exactly. So we gots to figure out what they're doing to help the orcs and what the elks are doing to help them, and then maybe we can figure out whether or not your friend is safe here. I'm gonna open up the hole I made in the tent wider and duck inside.
Okay.
Oh goodness.
And
I'm gonna
start digging around for anything that looks remotely like a letter, like some sort of list for requisitions, or if any of these crates look like they're supposed to go somewhere. You know, maybe a crate that isn't filled with things that are supposed to last.
Roll me investigation again.
I'm also gonna look for anything that wouldn't spoil.
Cool. Oh, nice. All right, for what you can tell inside this building, or inside this tent, there is not a whole lot that wouldn't spoil. Oh, sorry, there's not a whole lot that would spoil in here. Primarily, it's vegetation. Or the stuff that would spoil would be stuff like some carrots that they have in there, or stuff like that. Most of it, though, is dried up food. I believe there's a practice in Alaska, if I remember correctly, where they can put some foods under the snow, let it dry out to some degree there, and use that almost like rations and sorts. That's a similar process to what they're doing here, utilizing the snow as a kind of way to coal things. So
okay, so it doesn't look like there's any anything wrapped or in a barrel or a crate. Or
no, there are some
that
crates.
Looks like it's ready to move.
Yeah, there are some crates, but they're mostly open tops. And that's for stuff like the carrots and the like. It does not look like anything's really going to be moving out of here, unless it's going to be moving with the tent itself. There is a letter in there, if you want to read that.
Yes. Yes.
So as you read the letter,
wants to look for the actual opening.
The opening is just to the side of the tent. It's not. It's probably about 5 feet or so to the top of the thing. So anyone who's under 5 feet would have to bow their heads under the opening to get inside. So it's probably for a small person, or for someone trying to move things in and out. They would have to crouch. But the letter itself reads primarily. Trying to think of a good name. Let's go with. I have so many J names in my head. Let's go with Lily. Let's go with Lily. I like Lily. Lily's a good name. It says, "Dear Lily, many of the foods that you have requested have been brought into the tent. We are hoping that you and your camp will be able to survive through the next couple of months, as these are usually the hardest of the weather. The snow is going to be falling probably very soon, so you'd want to pack up a lot of the foods and possibly move to a slightly warmer location as the weather changes. As always, if you'd like to go to the main camp, we would like to accept you and have you. But obviously you seem to be against that idea, so take it as you will. It's a sign of good offering. This food is yours and yours alone if you wish to have it. Otherwise, come join us." Signed, probably Rocktooth, I would say.
Come join us where? Is this letter saying, "Here's some food, come join us at this village," and this letter just followed along? Or was this letter saying, "Here's some food, come leave the village to join us elsewhere"?
The letter is basically saying, here's some food, we've requested you join the main camp. That was the specific phrasing that they used, main camp, which you assume probably would be where the head chieftain is, but main camp could be any sorts of things, but that's just the immediate assumption that comes to your mind. come join us at the main camp, and then, yeah, pretty much, it could be either lead it or be a force. You're not quite sure. It doesn't, it's kind of vague, but it does just say, come join us at the main camp.
I'm gonna hold the letter up to Ruina, and I'm gonna say, see what I say. An orbital camp of the orcs.
She grabs it. Oh.
The orcs
Interesting.
are supplying this camp. So now we know where they get some of their food. Now we needs to figure out how they're supplying the orcs. Spy business.
I'm not a spy. I haven't been trained in that. That's a little above my pay grade, I think.
Well, I was the spy master for good Lord Eamon, back where I'm from, overseas. Could learn a thing or two from me.
Well, you could learn a thing or two from me as well. Probably more than I could learn from you.
Wasn't meant to be an insult or nothing. I ain't trying to measure up to nobody.
I love this connection. Well, so you guys do now have that paper. You guys can put it back if you wish, or keep it on you. It's your entire choice.
I got no use. I'm just gonna toss it to Ruina.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, she'll keep it. She'll tuck it in with all the maps and stuff that she took.
Alright, cool.
I'm also gonna go ahead and just take some nuts. Dinner.
Okay.
We could just go into that. You know what? You do you.
Oh, I love that. Alright, so you steal some of the nuts.
They'll keep. I don't have to eat them tonight.
Cool. So where you guys want to go from there? At this point in time, Oliver and Ellie would have been brought into the mess tent. Boink. There we go.
Get warmed up.
Hmm?
I said, yeah, get warmed up.
Going to try, but I'm also panicking.
Being warm is fun and nice.
In the tent, I almost said building. It's mostly food storage.
Yeah, mostly food storage. There is a small mat, similar to the ones that you guys slept in the other night, on the floor. It looks like this is also somebody's main tent, but they're obviously not there at the moment.
Okay. No, like, extra cloaks or anything?
Nope. It's very bare bones.
Wait, this person has no personal possessions. Oh boy.
They're probably just here to watch the storehouse, you know? Make sure people, like, don't steal.
Yeah, let's get out of here before they decide to get back.
Further up we go.
Goodness. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't go over there. What's going on?
You should be able to. Huh? Oh, I think it's because there's so many walls.
I'll find the way.
There you go. Alright, cool. From this height, you guys can see a lot of the areas. There are some tents which have some light source inside burning, namely this one. There's a single sheep just in the middle of this area. They seem to be having some fun in this almost snow-covered area. There's a tiny trough for them too. It looks very old and very tired, but it's at least comforting in the roll of the snow. And here is also a small tent with a light source in it.
So both of them have a light source that's on right now?
Yep.
Okay. I suppose we should look for a tent that doesn't have a light source. Shaky?
That makes sense to me.
Okay. Can we go down? Ooh, we can.
Yep, it's about a 10-foot drop, so you have to climb down a little bit, but that's easy enough. The sheep notices you, but just kind of stares at you, unblinking.
I'm just gonna put my finger up to my lips and go, shh.
Leave the sheep alone, Shaky.
Just stares at you. Would probably say it's slightly unnerving, but yeah.
Where do these stairs go?
Can I scale the cliff?
You're more than welcome to. This one does not seem to have any light source inside of it. There is no sounds of any breathing or any sleeping inside of it either. There does seem to be a very small, almost garden-like area that Graves is walking kind of in between. It is not any plant that you can recognize.
Sweet, I'll take one for the dock.
Oh god, okay.
Rowena goes in the front.
I don't know if you guys could hear that, but that was a loud car. Good god. Alright.
I'm peeking my head underneath again.
From what you can tell, there's not much inside this. This is a little bit larger tent. There are a few things in here. There is a rather large sword inside of a sheath, leaned up against the opposite side of the wall from where Shaky is. As Runa kind of walks in the area, there is a small, almost dresser-like object next to the sword that's kind of leaning on as well. It is kind of covered in different, not ornaments, but almost like prizes of some sort. There's a cot as well, and there seems to be a helmet that has two large horns on it.
I'm gonna just from the little hole underneath I'm using to look, I'm gonna say, I'll keep an eye outside. If you hear Bon, escape.
Okay.
Or Brayin. What's the noise a sheep makes again? Bleat? If you hear any bleating.
Okay. Just don't, like, kick that old one or something. Do it yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan.
Okay.
Walks up to the old, tired son of a bitch and kicks him.
Yeah, no, I'm actually just gonna hide behind the rock to make sure nobody sneaks up on Ruina while she's in there.
Okie dokie. Yeah, pretty good vantage point there. You can hear the mess hall, or the mess tent, definitely growing in noise. Happy noises, from what you can tell, for the most part, as they're kind of being brought in. Seems to be almost like chanting. You can also hear glug, 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 or chug, 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 chug. You're not quite sure. You're fairly certain it's chug, but yeah, you're too far of distance to properly hear. I'm
pretty sure in Orcish it translates to glug, glug, glug.
Probably. But yeah, so we're you kind of into the tent. As I said before, it's kind of plain. There is what almost looks like a shield decorated with a I don't know what it'd be decorated. Probably decorated with a skull. Like a symbol of a skull, not an actual skull, kind of like almost tapered up onto near the top of the tent. It looks to be somewhat precariously placed, just because it's rather heavy, and the tent side is almost like being pulled forwards. The wood is keeping it very taut, though.
Okay. I'm gonna look at the chest thing. Try and see if I can. Is it open? Is it locked?
It's currently closed. I don't believe it would be locked, but it's definitely closed.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of mimics. Okay,
That's a good plan. I do not have a mimic in this area, but that is a wonderful plan.
Wait, there's only one way to know for certain. Is there a yellow sticky note on it with not a mimic written in Sharpie?
I wish, but there is none.
I will open the chest.
Cool. Inside the chest is what looks to be some clothes, namely a small tunic. Well, not small, it's larger than you are, but it seems to be a semi-thin tunic. There's a lot of different furs inside, rather large pants. Looks to be the personal possessions of, probably from what you can tell, a male orc, judging from the height and size of them.
I could certainly take one of those furs. That would help. I mean, it's an orc anyway. What's the big deal?
I love your characters.
Yep. She doesn't know where she's gonna put it. That's the big problem.
No, just roll it up in your bedroll. No one will notice a little extra layer in there.
Okay. She'll take one of the furs.
Cool.
Put it in her pack.
Alright. They do that,
There's
Leon...
no, like... There's no, like, books or anything?
Nope.
Nope, okay.
From what you can tell, at least from what you've heard stories of, orcs don't read that often.
Well, I mean, like, papers, notes, you know. He found one in the other tent.
There doesn't seem to be a whole lot in here. There's the drawers and stuff like that. This does seem almost like a commander's tent, at least based on what you can tell from what you guys were inside the other area with the other tent. This does seem to be somewhat reminiscent. From what you can tell, the only tents that are of actual importance have trophies of sorts, or distinguishing marks in them, like the sword, for example, or the shield, from what you can tell.
Does the sword have a name?
There is none on the sheath. It is easily a great sword. Probably the length of it is about the same size as your torso. So it is quite a
And you
large
said there
sword.
were other little trophies on the chest or something?
On the so there's the chest off to the right, and then there's a sword, and it's leaning against almost like a I had the word, not shelf. I hate when I lose the words right when I need them. Drawers, that's it. The sword's leaning on a bunch of drawers, basically. And on the drawers is a bunch of little markers, almost like prizes. So, like, what's a good way to detail? It's almost like a ribbon, except the equivalent for an orc. I have no idea what the equivalent of a ribbon would be for an orc. But yeah, tiny little prizes, tiny little
probably
markers.
a ribbon.
Would it? Okay.
Or
yeah,
a
so
necklace of sorts?
Ooh, a necklace. That's good.
I like that.
With like teeth on it.
there is one with what looks to be forest animal's teeth. You can identify a boar's teeth. You can also identify a particularly large elk tooth, which is a very weird thing that you're seeing. It's like almost like the jewel in the middle of the necklace. There's also a couple of them with beads on them. Some that look handcrafted, some that look almost like forged. There's ones with small bits of metals on it. There's just a bunch of these necklaces all over this drawers.
Okay, so nothing that looks kind of like elfish or more human than orc.
Yep. This just looks like pretty much a orc commander room.
Okay. Nothing else interesting. I'm gonna make my way out.
Cuckoo. Yep.
To Leon, it was just, kind of boring, nothing much.
Find anything particularly noteworthy?
Found a fur? I took a fur.
Nice.
Found a sword the size of you.
Oh yeah, there was a big sword. I mean, it's an orc place. I think she kind of assumes that no matter what kind of orc, they're gonna have weapons and stuff.
You want to push your luck with one more, or is it time to make our presence known?
That's a good question. Do I want to push my luck?
Still haven't found where they keep their, I have to assume they're armed. Still haven't found...
Yeah, but I'm a little bit more worried about Ellie than that. I mean, eventually we'll find out more.
Aww.
So, sounds like it's option 2 then. Making ourselves known.
I really, I do want to investigate more, but I got to go check.
Say no more, boss. I'm gonna jump off the hill if I can.
Jesus. Whee!
You're just...
I'm just gonna slide down. Leave no footprints in the snow, man. Don't let them know I was here.
They will never know. How could they know?
If the guy goes home and he sees a set of footprints going up the stairs, he's gonna be like, "Who was in my home?" He's not gonna go around back and check for footprints in the back of his tent.
God. Alright, cool. So you two walk in as well?
I just imagine just from how long they've been out there, it's just like Oliver is just like midway into like playing a friendly game of poker or something with some of the residents or something along those lines.
Yeah, so you guys
probably
walk
also
in.
while staying close enough to Ellie to make sure nothing happens to her.
Mm-hmm. So this is where we're going to end it, so I'm going to give you guys a nice little scene to think of as we end it. So you guys walk in, and the first thing you guys notice is Oliver playing cards against your furred friend, Jimmy, as well as a particularly large orc. I mean, he is not quite as large as the commander that you guys found before, but he's close to that size. He is laughing. He's drinking a lot of mead. He's playing with cards that look so tiny in his hands that it's practically childish. They seem to be having a decent time. Ellie is attempting to get warm. I assume next to the fire. Probably in the middle of the tent. There's a small fire going on.
Just happily bundled, just cradling herself by the fire.
Yeah, there's probably like a solid fur coat that's just wrapped around her shoulders and like an orcish full coat. So it's huge on her. And you guys can see a bunch of other ones. It's primary half-orcs. That's the majority of the creatures in here are a bunch of half-orcs. They're all laughing, cheering with each other. But you do see at the far end a particularly large female orc. She looks even larger than the Jimmy's friend, Ragnar, and she is sitting in a chair watching the entire thing. She has no weapons on her, which is very weird because everyone else has a weapon on them. The Ragnar has a particularly large longsword on his back. Even Jimmy has none, but the rest of the half-orcs do. There's a couple of humans in there too. But they usually all have small knives, small swords. One has a mace. She has none. All she has on her is a very small ladle.
Oh no. It's spreading.
As a fry pan.
But yeah, she looks to you two as you enter before she stands, and you realize her sitting down was not her full height. She is an 8'6" orc. She is giant. She is almost touching the top of this tent, and this tent is huge. As she kind of walks over to your group, easily dwarfing most of the orcs, and she gives you a big-ass smile, and she's like, "Hey, I'm Big Mama. Who are you?"
You can call me Rowena.
The name's Dean Domino. Told you guys play some mean dice here.
Indeed we do. It's good to meet you, Dean Domino and Rowena. It's good to see you too. We do many things here, but we mostly service those in need, namely humans like yourself. And our little tiefling friend. It's been a while since I've seen a tiefling in this realm. It's very curious to see one. They're very rare in these parts.
A tiefling? Where?
Really?
Well, yeah.
I thought I would often been told that this was the origin of most folks of my species.
She shrugs. It is the origin, but it's rather rare to see. Usually more we see some of our half-orcish kind, or maybe the full orcs. They seem to be odd ones. I personally take in all of the halves that I can, except for half-elves. They tend to prove more of a problem than they do not a nuisance. Mostly because they tend to pick fights. No, something to prove, I guess. But I like to keep any and all I can in good shape and form. I'm Big Mama. All the folks here are my children. Not technically. I feed all of them, I bathe all of them, I clothe all of them, I'll be all of them if I need to. No one goes out of line without me saying so.
I'm gonna toss her a gold coin and say, round of food and drink then for the tiefling and their orc companion. I'm gonna be joining them at that table.
She nods and she walks over to the fire that Ellie is almost twice Ellie's size as she starts to pour next to her on the fire is a particularly large pot of soup, it looks like, as she just starts doling that into a bowl. It is almost comical, the size difference between her and the bowl that she's holding.
And as I go to sit down at the table, I'm gonna slip the plant that I stole into Oliver's pack.
Nice. All right.
Do I see this, or is he just literally giving it to me?
No, I'm not in plain sight. I'm gonna try to.
You can feel rustling in your pack as his hand kind of moves in and out. It's a very small rustle. You would have to roll perception to know exactly what he did.
Theoretically, if I felt the rustle, I probably would do that. Give me a sec to pull that out.
He has very nice hands. You have no idea what he just put in your backpack, in your pack.
With the sleight of hand 17, I don't think you noticed anything.
I don't even think my character would notice.
Yeah, you're playing poker, and his hands are daft. They are very fast. They are very, very good at grabbing and moving things. You don't feel a goddamn thing.
I'm literally just half expecting to just like get to the moment when we take the rest, and I pull out the head up to try and determine what sort of potions I can make, and just see that there, just like, this is a weed.
Who knows what could
How
be.
to strangers, name's Dean Domino. I bought y'all around. Why don't y'all deal me in?
Fair enough. I'm just going to say.
Jimmy hands you out a hand as Ragnar looks down at you. About probably 3 foot height difference as he smiles at you. Oh, another one! And he slams his hand down on the table, like, with unbelievable joy. You see the other two half-orcs immediately put their hands on the table as you walk forwards, and so as he slams his hand down on the table, nothing shifts much. And he's like, another one! You have joined our party! We shall have the battle of the gods!
I'm gonna tip my hat and say, you ain't going to be quite so exuberant by the time I'm through with you, but I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Beat me in battle, and you have won my honor.
I've heard tell of what many of the humans call Lady Luck. Perhaps she'll be sitting with one of us today.
There's a lady that'll be sitting with us? Fancy.
It's not literally.
Oh.
It's not literal. It's a figure of speech, so far as I'm aware.
Oh.
Unfortunately. It would be interesting to actually meet a physical being dedicated to luck, but...
So, no pretty lady?
And that's one of them. I'm gonna sit with us, I suppose. Just
I
look
mean, do
over
you
at
need a pretty
Runa and
lady when you
Eleanor.
got me sitting right next to you?
He looks at you and he's like, "You're a lady? Humans are weird."
At any rate, would we be rolling for this, or are we just going to just assume that we're
We
just
shall
sitting
do
and
that
playing
next
casually?
episode because I have a dice game in mind that plays with the actual dice. So we'll be doing that next episode. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Fair enough. Concerning, but fair enough.
And yeah,
I'm looking
Big
forward
Mama.
to cheating.
Big Mama drops down her the couple bowls of food next to you as she stands over your table. Her shadow is larger than the table itself. She is huge. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Big Mama is gonna have a lot of fun with you folks next episode, so we'll see what happens. Her ladle is an instrument of justice and pain, let me tell you what.
I have to say, I'm not going to be surprised if we just, like, later on, as we're about to leave, just, like, find out she's, like, an old associate of Eleonora's.
How do you know her? Why, see, I was a friend of her mother's. She taught me how to beat people with a stick. I turned it into a cane, and then from the cane I turned it into skillets. And from a skillet I turned it into a ladle.
I just want to assume that she didn't recognize Eleonora because she might not have allowed her to directly see the face on the way in, and Eleanor didn't know it was her because she didn't directly look at her.
It is
Probably.
possible. But yeah, hopefully you guys
It would
enjoyed
be a
this.
very funny and very it would be a very funny ending to this, though.
Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this. If you guys did, tune in 2 weeks from now on the 25th. As we do another episode of it. If you guys want to see my usual streams, I'm going to be doing them on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. PST. And if you guys want to see a bunch of our other stuff, like a book that I'm going to be making soon and a podcast, feel free to go to our Patreon or some of our other links, including our YouTube links. You guys can see all the content that we're going to be making there. So follow if you haven't already, and you'll be able to see them as they start coming out. And we shall see all of you fine folks on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Bye.